Hello, episode 29, Road to Superbowl, podcast that is up there for you to take a haul in the off season, to get to know your favorite teams, your favorite players, understand how their window is working, if they have a shot at winning Super Bowl, what they should do, what they could do. Essentially, we are trying to put you behind the eyes of every single general manager in the league in order for you to have a deeper understanding of how this team, what's this team situation. Today, here we are with San Francisco 49ers. It's episode 29. We are starting to get Super Bowl finalist, and here we are with the loser, with the 49ers. What we are doing here, essentially, not only we rank players, but we also take a look at their contracts, how their contracts are like good or bad given the amount of production they are getting, what they perhaps should do with the contracts that are not so good for the team, who are the guys that should be prolonged, etc. But in order to have a proper evaluation of any single contract, you need to understand, of course, if a player is good, bad, like what is his quality, and you also need to understand like what is your window, what are you trying to do. Like, okay, let's say this guy is great, he is on a great contract, but this is not the year for us to win Super Bowl. We are in rebuild. So what we are doing with this guy, like, is he gonna help us essentially achieve our goals in the long term? Probably not. So what is the market for him? You can see it like for like a guy like Brian Burns for Carolina. I think they could have kept him, but they decided, all right, we need to figure out what we're gonna do with our offense, with our QB that we sacrificed a lot to get. And we clearly are not in our Super Bowl window, so let's just capitalize on this guy. Got value. Bear in mind, 2 years ago we could have gotten 2 first round picks. Now we got second and fifth, but you have to look at what's on the table right now, not what could have been 2 years ago. It's really important when you are evaluating this. You need to be realistic where you are. What are you doing? Like, you cannot live in the past and be like, oh, we could have gotten this guy. Like, for example, if you are Carolina Panthers, you cannot have thought about, oh my god, we could have had CJ Stroud. No. This is the past. You don't have him. You have Bryce Young. You have to do what's best for your future. So that's just one philosophical stuff here. And essentially how this show or how this podcast is run down, what is the order. So first of all, we're going to take a look at 2023 season for each team. So today it's going to be San Francisco 49ers. Then if I feel like their free agency deserves like a specific topic, we take a look at free agency at separation, but most of the time we take a look at free agency in terms of rundown, where we take a look at the entire roster consisting of like 4 parts: weaponry, that's quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers. Offensive line, it's just offensive linemen, but for defensive line, surprise, it's not just defensive linemen. We are also talking linebackers, secondary, cornerbacks, safeties, and with coaches, we also take a look at special teams. So most likely, and specifically for San Francisco, for sure, we're gonna take a look at what they have done in our season in terms of their particular groups. Also, after that, we take a look at what this team could or should do in the draft, how they should approach it, and what is their Super Bowl window. Are they on the push now mode, or are they rebuilding? What they should do, ideally, in my head, going forward in order to maximize their chance to winning Super Bowl. Like, not this year, but let's say for this show, it's in the time span of 3 years. Also, for every single team, we have 3 specific topics to discuss that are either discussed separately or they are going to be run down. So, for example, for San Francisco, it's yet another heartbreak. We were so close, but yet so far. 2 more years, we are talking about the Super Bowl window and coaches replacement. Like, who are the coaches that actually left this organization in past years? And that's a lot. Like, the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree is really, really good. So, okay, let's start with 2023 season, which will also be talking about another heartbreak as a part of it. So, what is there to say for 2023? Like, everything went really good. They had like three game stretch in which they kind of sucked. Like a lot of people were saying like Brock Purdy is not the guy, blah blah blah. But let's face it, one was about missed field goal, one he played injured, and just one he really like under delivered. So really that stretch was really quickly put behind their mind. They went from 5-0 to 5-3, then to finish like 13-4 or 12-5 because they didn't need to win the last game. 12-5 because they put backups into the last game against the Rams. But at the same time, there was one moment in even this stretch that was really, like, I wouldn't say mind-blowing, but like telling that maybe this team will have a hard time actually winning the Super Bowl. And obviously we talk about disaster game against the Ravens. But then the playoffs come, and let's be honest, like San Francisco did not look exceptional. Like they could have easily been eliminated by Packers. Lions really have them on their shovel in a way. Like that's what, let's take the saying in Czech Republic, you have someone on your shovel. I'm not sure if that's used in English, but it essentially means that you really had the game in the back in a way, and they blew it. So it says a lot about what San Francisco is as a team. They were able to overcome this, but at the same time, they really put themselves in vulnerable positions. And then the Super Bowl came. And it's like, where do you want me to start? Like, okay, if you hear any like angry cat noises, it's just my cats playing with each other, our kittens actually. So they like to try to do the mess, especially when I'm talking. Something about my voice, I guess. But let's go back to the Super Bowl. Like, San Francisco was a better team in a Super Bowl. They lost because they made mistakes, or more crucial mistakes. Whether we talk about CMC and his fumble, whether we talk about missed extra point from Moody. But I think clearly the thing that swung the game, at least in my view, was the muffed punt. But to me, this can happen. You are playing top team, mistakes are going to happen. But what to me is absolutely inexcusable is they actually didn't fucking know the rules of the overtime. And I'm like, how is that possible? Like the fact that Kyle Schick is like, oh my god, they could do that? Really? I did not know. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to bear down on Kyle Schick, but what is this? Like, there is about 6% chance, based on odds and everything, that the game is going to go into overtime. 6%. And not knowing rules for something that actually can occur, like, yeah, like, kind of, it's not absolutely there. Like, 6% is like, like a decent chance, right? And not knowing the rules, that's like Chiefs themselves, they said they spent a lot of time actually breaking down what's the preference. Like you can see Mahomes and Reed talking on the sidelines about like what they would do in terms of if they won a coin toss, because this new rule definitely changes how you should view a coin toss. Like I'm not sure what's the best strategy, but like not giving it like a thought, like what the hell, and also like not knowing what would happen if you score a touchdown is just inexcusable. I'm not saying like I wished Chiefs to win because of that. Like I kind of obviously do, because 49ers and Seahawks are not great friends. So I had my preferences for the Super Bowl. But at the same time, like I kind of really like this team in terms of from a fan perspective, from even like, no, GM, yeah, maybe even GM perspective. And still, like, you know, so it's like, yeah, as a fan of the Seahawks, no, but as a fan of great football, as an analyst, as a guy that absolutely loves the game, this is exceptional team. But this to me really feels like a dumb mistake. And did it bite them in their asses? Was it the reason they lost? No, I really don't think so. But to me, it's still inexcusable to do so. And for 49ers, it's the second loss in like last 5 years, I think. Last time they lost, let me check. Yeah, last time they lost, it was also to Mahomes, and it was 2019-2020 season. That time it was yet another heartbreak, man. Like entering the fourth quarter, they were up 10 points, ended up losing by 11. Even like, what is it? 7 minutes to go, they were still up 10. And they've lost again. So for 49ers, obviously they have a great team. They are a team capable of winning Super Bowls, but yet another time they came so close, yet so far. And it was again Patrick Mahomes who put the Lombardi trophy into his hand in front of their eyes. Okay, so that's 2023. Like, what is there to say? Nick Bosa played to his new contract. He's an absolute stud. CMC is best running back in the game. Brandon Ayuk really put himself up in the conversation to be like top 10, top 15 wide receiver at worst. We're gonna get to him later with the rundown and with his contract situation. Debo was good. Brock Purdy definitely followed up on his first year flashes, on his first year performances, even after injury. Like, is he elite quarterback? No. Should he be winning like MVP? Not in my opinion. Not that what I understand to be to MVP mean. It's most valuable player. I don't think like he was even most valuable player on this team. I think that was CMC. And even after CMC, I would give it to Trent Williams. But in terms of what this award is usually conducted under, like how people vote, I do understand why he was in the conversation or actually he was the leader of the conversation run until the loss to Lamar at home. But that's, we can have a discussion about the MVP, what does it mean, what does it not mean. But just because he was in the conversation, he had really good season, throwing the ball. Like if you just separate those 3 games where he was kind of injured, he had a concussion in one of those games, he was really easily top half of the QBs in the league. Obviously, the cast around him is exceptional. We're gonna get to this. But I honestly believe he is the best QB Kyle Shanahan had, with his regime in San Francisco. And he is, to me, like quite easy top, like tier 3 QB in the league. And to have him for for next 2 years for just $1 million, it really kind of determines the future of the 49ers. So free agency, in my eyes, does not need a separate topic. We'll take a look at it through the rundown. And now let's go to the rundown. So for new people here, in terms of rundown, we do it like this. First of all, you're gonna see player cards that are specifically designed for the purposes of this series. What is their aim is for you to actually meet the players, because obviously there is 32 teams on each roster. There is even just on the active roster is 53 players. You have close to 100 players actually entering training camps, etc. So we are not looking at every single player on the roster. I just pick up like about 30 guys that either were significant contributors for 23 or could be for 2024. So I will always tell you, like, now is the time. If you want to meet the players, if you want to check the player cards, if you want to know how they actually look like, now it's your time. So we start with the offense, actually with the weaponry. So let's go. Brock Purdy, CMC aka Christian McCaffrey, Joshua Dobbs, Elijah Mitchell, Kyle Juszczyk, Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Juwan Jennings, and Cameron Latu. After that, what are these tables, right? These tables are there to show you what is the cap situation for each and for this group, for the players I've showed you, and what it was before the free agency and what it is right now. So for this, they pretty much have not done anything to this group. There is 2 like major things. The one is Brandon Ayuk is on his 5th-year option, which there is talks that he might choose not to play under, that he might request a trade, request a new contract. And his situation is definitely right now one of the hottest topics in the NFL. Like, what will San Francisco do with him? And let's be honest, he deserves to get paid. Like, coming back, risking injury, it's a tough business, but at the same time, it's 14 millions. Like, it's not a slouch of money, right? And deciding not to play or threatening not that, I think it could be more detrimental to the Ayuk dead than to the San Francisco. Like, I think kind of no matter the situation, they will be able to get some compensation for him. And for him, it could be really not that good. But I do understand him trying to force the move. He deserves that. He is really exceptional. He also like gives this team something that they don't necessarily have. Like Debo, Jennings, Kittle, CMC, like for 10, 15, 20 yards around the line of scrimmage, you will be really hard pressed to find a better group. You probably won't be able to, or most certainly you won't be able to. Like even when you add Kyle Juszczyk into the mix. But in terms of vertical presence, in terms of actually deep balls, Brandon Ayuk is the guy that does it for you. And I'm kind of surprised they have not been able to work this one out so far. When they released Eric Armstead, I thought they were freeing up money to sign Brandon to a long-term contract. They actually did some really weird stuff with the money for the Armstead, but we will talk about that later with the D-line rundown. So it's gonna be really interesting to watch. I would not rule out him being traded on the draft night. Though when I was like trying to find partners for the teams, it's kind of a problem, I feel, for 49ers, because it's not like he is a luxury they can be without. I definitely feel like they would have to replace him with, starting level wide receiver. And therefore, if you look to trade him with a team that would be in a position to, I don't know, like let's say you try to trade him up with like Cardinals. Like, okay, you get certified top 10, top 15 wide receiver, and you give us number 4 pick. And, the idea behind it is we will draft Marvin Harrison if he is still out there. But at the same time, like, why would Arizona do that? Like, I do understand the point that if you were a team trying to win now, it's like from a team that's trying to win now, which is San Francisco, you want to make a trade with a team that is most likely rebuilding, right? And you are kind of giving them now player for the future player. It usually works really the other way around. So it's really like a weird situation for these purposes. So I'm not sure if they will figure out the draft situation with this, because if it was like you can live without him, like you have a deep pool of wide receivers, you want to get cheaper, then it kind of makes sense, because you would be trading with teams that perhaps like, would be on place to like select an edge rusher. They don't really need an edge rusher. So you can make the swap kind of easy. But here it's kind of like direct swap. Okay, we want to trade this guy for a pick that will give us wide receiver. But why would the team that's trying to rebuild just go for this guy? Like, that really, to me, does not make that much of a sense. It could make sense if it was with Chicago Bears for number 9 pick, but one, I feel like Brandon Ayuk is probably more worth than number 9 pick, though it might be questionable to say that, but they already got themselves great weapons for Caleb Williams, so they don't need another like made wide receiver. The other like team that could have been on the market for a guy like Ayuk would be Panthers, pair him with Bryce Young, give him that exceptional wide receiver. But that would need to be the case if Carolina had their first round pick, obviously not first overall, but if they had like number 7, number 6, that could have been the case, but they have number 33, so that should not be a price for Ayuk. It's very like hard to determine what is actually his situation, because it might not be that he might not be the only exceptional wide receiver in terms of who is gonna get thrown around in some trade rumors. Like Justin Jefferson also has only 1 year contract with the Vikings, and again, like it might seem harsh to Ayuk, but he might be the second option for other teams if they were looking to, draft down for an exceptional player now. They would go for Justin Jefferson rather than Brandon Ayuk. So really interesting situation. I cannot wait for the draft night. I feel like it could be one for the ages, like both in terms of the quality of the players that are going to get selected, but also in terms of there's a lot of trade rumors that are interesting, that actually can make sense, and we will see. Like, I hope it's not going to be boring, and I actually believe it could not be. But we spend our time with Brandon Ayuk. Let's just take this group as a whole. So Brock Purdy, I really believe he is a very good starter. Obviously, the cast around him just helps him a lot, but he makes that group. He doesn't, like, how to put it, like, he doesn't compromise this group with his performance. He is able to put this group into the right positions to make them elite, and obviously they will make him look better, but it's not like they have to carry all the hard work. Like, he is very capable quarterback. Like, let's just do a simple rundown through the division. So would I take him over Kyler Murray? No. Would I take him over Geno Smith at this point? Probably yes. And we are just talking about current ability. We are not talking about contract, just to make things clear. So I would take him over Geno Smith. I would not take him over Matthew Stafford. I would not take him above Jordan Love, though it's like, like when you say Jordan Love, his first year, it's kind of similar to Brock Purdy looked like first year. But yeah, I would take Jordan Love over this guy. I would take Brock Purdy over Caleb Williams. In terms of current ability, I'm not talking about potential guys. It's just right now, who is a better QB? I think Brock Purdy is a better QB than Caleb right now. I would not put him over Jared Goff, and I would take him over Sam Darnold. Yeah, easily. I would not take him over Hurts or Prescott. I would take him over whoever is QB for Washington or the Giants, Daniel Jones. Yeah, I would put him over. I would put him over Derek Carr. I would put him over Bryce Young. I would put Kirk Cousins over him. And with Baker, it's an interesting conversation, but I feel like I would still pick Brock over Baker right now. So just when you take, it's just one conference, but it's like he's really, top 7 quarterback in the conference. Overall, he would be like top 16, 17 in terms of the entire league, in terms of his current ability. Let's not forget he's still just in year 2. Like, he can improve, right? And he improved. I think he was better than he was year 1. So it feels like just because Brock Purdy is playing under Kyle Shanahan, just because he has all these weapons around, we are forgetting that he is in year 2. We are like, he's this good only because the cast around him. That cast makes him definitely look exceptional. But like, he improves. He is better than he was year 1. He works on himself. Like, is he a slam dunk to be signed for $50 million contract in 2026? No way. Like, if you ask me right now, would I give him the max contract? No, I would not. But let's not pretend like he is just a guy for them. Like, he is a very good player for this offense. Joshua Dobbs, like the signings, kind of a guy that can give you 1-2 games that, will confuse the defense. Then essentially he's probably going to fade out. But if Brock has a minor injury, Joshua Dobbs is there to step. If he's out for long term, it could be a problem. But again, Joshua Dobbs under Kyle Shanahan, like, it could work. But the fact that it didn't work in terms of long term in the Vikings is kind of telling, because they have similar situation, really good weapons, exceptional left tackles, and offensive guru on the bench. So running backs, like I said, CMC is, to me, the best running back in the league. Not necessarily in terms of just running the ball, but overall in terms of his complexity. Elijah Mitchell, good second guy to have. We will see if they pay him next year. But good. Carlos Chick, I would say, is the best fullback in the league. Definitely, depends what you want to do with him, but he is up there. Again, for fullbacks, it's very hard to rank them. So if I was ranking him just based on fullback standard, he would have to be elite. But I feel like ranking him elite just does not feel all right. So I try to kind of mesh how he stands in terms of fullbacks and what his actual impact on the game is. I think that makes him a very good starter. But like I said, it's really, really hard for the fullbacks. In terms of wide receivers, Debo and Brandon, really great complementary pieces, amazing players. Juwan Jennings absolutely works in the system, works his butt off. He tries to block hard, he plays hard. He doesn't kind of care that he doesn't have 10 targets a game. I don't think he has the mentality that he, I feel like for him, if he's gonna be in the league for next 5 years and gonna get paid like 3 to 5 millions every single year, he will be happy with that. He will play his heart out. It just feels like that. He knows he is limited. He's never going to be Debo. He's never going to be Brandon. But he does everything he can to be successful. And I really like that. So great complementary pieces. Then in terms of tight ends, George Kittle, I would still took Travis Kelce in terms of current ability over Kittle, most likely. But it's definitely debatable. But they are really a top guy. Cameron Latu kind of really have not played that much based on his draft. He gets to earn the good backup, but with you in front of it means unproven, and that's just what he is. So overall, this group to me is A with a slight plus. Obviously, if they had better QB than Purdy, they would be A plus or A plus plus or just creme de la creme because the weapons around him are exceptional. But Purdy being the most influential position in the in the NFL, just being middle of the pack hurts this team in order to just really talk them as the best weaponry by country mile in the league. I would say they are still the best. Or maybe it's kind of close with the Bengals because of Joe Burrow. But they are definitely out there. Without, if quarterbacks was not in the rankings, they are definitely the best. So now it's time to meet the offensive line. Trent Williams, Jake Brendel, Colton McKivitz, Aaron Banks, Spencer Burford, John Feliciano. And that's it. So here we were before the offseason started. And here we are right now. So pretty much what happened, they re-signed John Feliciano. Aaron Banks got some money from the league because he was overperforming given his draft pedigree. Good for the league that they actually don't exploit not a first round rookies, for the entirety of the contracts. And exploit is really nasty word in this mean. They actually give them some money in terms of appreciating that maybe they should have getting drafted higher. Essentially, you are contributors for fourth year. Your money will go up, substantially, 2 or 3 times. So, what is this O-line? It's an O-line that I would say still have the best O-lineman in the league. I would still put the crown on Trent Williams' head. Because this dude is, he's just nasty, man. This year he was, in terms of grades, only behind Penei Sewell, who is kind of Trent Williams into making. He has similar mentality. And they were just really, there was significant gap behind these two guys. The way that these two guys played for the season was just on another level in terms of tackles, really across the league. I would still give crown to Trent, but definitely Penei could be a guy to really watch out to take the crown. In terms of guards, I mean, you can argue Chris Lindstrom is probably like the best guard in the league, but I would not put him over Trent Williams. Like, no way in hell. And like centers, yeah, also like the impact of them is just not that high. So Trent Williams to me is the best offensive line player in the league. And if there's someone that's close, I think it's probably Penei Sewell are really going for that crown in terms of performance and like the position. You know, like I would take an amazing starter at left tackle probably over exceptional center just because of the nature of the position. You can throw like Tristan Wirfs into the mix, like the fact that he can really play both right tackle and left tackle on an elite level is really crazy. But in terms of just how good he is for this position, Trent is the best in my opinion. And then you have kind of bunch of guys like Jake Brendel for a center. He actually had kind of nice season. He was kind of middle of the pack center. You know, like you can live with him out there for this type of money. You're not super happy with it, but you take it for this money. You definitely take it. John Feliciano had really great year as a guard, kind of out of Norway, like really out of nowhere in a way. Like after a lot of meh years when he was really a good backup at best, he had really good year as a guard, especially in terms of running game. His pass blocking was still something leaving to be desired, but he needed to step up over Burford because he just doesn't look like the guy, and he was definitely very good this season, especially for the run game. Spencer, while we're on the topic, Spencer Burford, their fourth round pick 2 years ago, seems like is really a mess. He is atrocious in terms of pass blocking. Like it's really worrying. Like he has out of the guys that are actually ranked by PFF, there is Chandler Zavala that has 7.1 passing block rate for almost 400 snaps. That's unheard of. That's really territory of unheard of. Maybe, you know, like I don't want to say I would make a better job because my rank would be like minus 100 or anything like that, but that's really unheard of. Like you can have that over like one game when you are against like Chris Jones of the world and you are getting absolutely decimated. It can happen, but have that over like almost 400 snaps is really ugly, and I feel bad for Mr. Zavala. But after that, the second worst pass block rate was Spencer Burford. Like, and he played 900 snaps, so he was out there, but he was actively hurting this team. And that's like another thing when I will like talk up Brock Purdy in a bit, because he really does not have great protection. He has to make the best out of redistributing the ball quickly. He cannot be in a situation where he really needs to rely on this O-line because, you know, other than Trent Williams, it's really a bunch of guys. John Feliciano with really good year, but, you know, how often you get that out of him. I still don't have him anything better than like a decent starter. Aaron Banks also like really, you are not happy that he is your starter. I mean, it's really easy to say that this is clearly your worst group. It's if you didn't have Trent Williams, this is easily one of the worst offensive line, if not the worst offensive line. With Colton McKivitz, again, he's a good backup that has to start here. He kind of held his own. He was not liability like Burford or Banks were for most of the time. But are you happy that he's out there? No. So, okay, for what you are paying here, you are paying top guy top money, and you are paying really nothing to other guys. Part of this because they are not that good, like Jake Brendel, or part of this, they are still on rookie deals. Overall, it's really kind of weird O-line to rank because, like I said, without Trent, they are bottom 3. With Trent, I will give them like a C grade because he just is the best O-lineman in the league. But yeah, it's really unbalanced group, and if Trent is gonna get injured, which like he had problems with injuries in the past, not with the 49ers, but in the past, they are in deep trouble. And having such liabilities in terms of offensive line, it's also like kind of not unheard of, but it definitely could cost them Super Bowl ambition. Okay, now it's time to meet defensive line and linebackers. So let's go. Eric Armstead, Javon Hargrave, Nick Bosa, Drake Jackson, Khalil Davis, Malik Collins, Yetur Gross Matos, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw. So here we are before the offseason started, and here we are right now. So I have not done it for this video. Let's do it right now. What does the red numbers mean? For a guy that you only see red numbers, it means that cap hit that is out there for this player. For Eric Armstead, it's actually a bit different because he is designed to be cut. He, like, in the sense of the way he has not been cut, but he has been cut. Like, it's going to be projected from from June. He is post-June cut. And for guys that have like blue before their red, it means void years. What void years are is, in a sense, the money you are seeing here will count against the cap hit for the 49ers for that particular season without these guys being on the roster. And why would you want something like that? It's obvious. You try to avoid big cap hits for some players in order to have the best possible players out there for the years when you're trying to win Super Bowls. So you can also see it in the way Nick Bosa's deal is structured for the next 2 years, which are definitely Super Bowl window for the 49ers. His cap hits are only 14.6 million and 20.5 million. Then it's 42, 52, 42 millions. Like, it's clear what years they are prioritizing. But let's start with Eric Armstead, and I just do not understand this move. Because with him, what is the situation, right? They wanted him to take a pay cut to stay here. And he really felt like the offer was really ridiculous. Like, it really felt like it was way under his like market value, right? And then when he did not took it, they released him. Before, like, he was supposed to have like 28 million dead cap hit or cap hit for this year, and then 14.8 million for the 25 in terms of void years, right? So essentially, they were on the hook for like 42 millions for next 2 years in terms of how he would count against cap hit. And with this move, they will have either 25.9 million this year as a dead cap hit, or it could be like something like 10 this year and 15 next year. So in a sense, they saved about 17 millions in terms of how much he would count against cap hit for this and next year. And 17 millions to save on an amazing starter does not really feel like that much. So the question is really not, is he worth 42 millions, which he was going to count against cap hit? But it's really, is he worth 25 millions, which is what you are, what is that like out there without the dead money? So what I'm saying is, the question is not, because you cannot clean in his entire cap hit, the only question is he worth 25 million to stay for 1 year? Because that is a sense what is the decision. And I really think he is, man. Like, I don't think saving 70 millions on him really is an exceptional deal. I could understand if you would at least get something back for him, but with cutting him, you are not getting anything. And like, can you get better players for the 17 millions you saved? Not really. I really don't think so. And the way you spend, like, if it was like, we need to free this money for Brandon Ayuk, I would get that. But if you are freeing this money to bring Leonard Floyd, 2 years, 20 millions, Campbell for 1 year, 5 million, and Gross Matos, 2 years, 18 millions. Like, first of all, you are actually overspending what you have saved on Armstead on these 3 players. And yeah, you're getting depth, but in terms of actual quality, you are getting one decent starter or maybe 2 decent starters in Matos and Floyd, and good backup at best in Campbell. These 2 guys, like Campbell and Floyd, I don't have them here. That's why I'm telling you the numbers. And I mean, you are paying more to these 3 guys that you saved on Arik Armstead. In terms of actual quality, I think you drop down significantly. And okay, you got depth, but you could get depth from the draft. You could, sign some veterans for the depth. This is definitely a move I really, really don't like. So, yeah, very questionable in my opinion. So let's focus on what stays here. In terms of edge, you have Nick Bosa. I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory. He's top 5 on his position in the league. You can definitely make a case he's top 3. You can make a case he's top 1. I won't be arguing either of these points. For me, easily top 5. I don't need to go is he better than Myles Garrett? Does it matter? Really? Does it really matter? We are not swapping these guys, so I don't need to make this decision. Does it matter? We are not voting on Defensive Player of the Year. We are just arguing, is this guy or this guy better? Both are elite. Both are absolute elite presence. What is there to say? Then you have Chris Matos, you have Floyd, you have Jake Jackson. Neither of them, to me, is quality number 2 like Armstead was. I don't really feel like it's even that close, so it might... the thought process probably is we have John Hargrave to be really good pass rusher from the inside. Okay, I get that, but let's just move past the point that I don't like Armstead releasing. Still very good group. Obviously Nick Bosa is an exceptional guy. And if you feel like he might struggle to stay healthy, you might want to ease him up on some games. You need more capable backups for him. Maybe you can just make sense a bit from this situation. But overall, I don't like it. And it's not for the 49ers they earned super benefit of doubt in terms of their trade decisions. They've managed to hit really they cannot hit on kind of first round picks, if exception of Nick Bosa, and they are kind of hitting with late round picks, whether it's Hufanga, whether it's Brock Purdy. That when you combine it with Kyle Shanahan and the fact that really a lot of these guys actually then turn up absolute stars, George Kittle, another late round pick. That's the reason why San Fran is this good. It's not in terms of general management, it doesn't feel like they are doing top job. It's kind of crazy to think how many flops they kind of had last couple of years. Trey Lance, for example, right? They really flopped that. It's a move that for a lot of franchises, you see with the Broncos, you see with the Panthers, it would make them like super bad for a couple years, but with Kyle Shanahan, with really hitting on late draft picks, they are still very, very special. Okay, let's make a move inside. Jamal Hargrave, definitely great player. Malik Collins, like the signing. Jordan Elliott, good guy into rotation. Like the inside, don't think you need to necessarily address that. And then you have also the best linebacker duo in the league with Fred Warner and with Dre Greenlaw. Obviously, with Dre Greenlaw, you are not sure if he's going to be back for start of the season because of what happened in Superbowl. I mean, man, oh man, like, do they win with Dre Greenlaw out there? I actually believe yes. Like, it just, I mean, injure yourself while you're running on the pitch and actually this severely, like, it's just crazy, but like, in a way, like, there's so many crazy moves you do in the actual game, and then you do this one move and the body just don't hold up. It's insane. Wish you great recovery and to see you out there at your best. So now it's time to meet the secondary for the 49ers. Before that, we will rank this group, and we will rank this group as A-. With Armstead, I would keep it an A. Without him, I think A-. No, I need to be honest. Just because I hate Eric Armstead, I need to give him A. The best linebacker, one of the best edge guys, really good inside, good depth. Like, yeah, I need to stay with A. Kind of sucks, but I need to stay with A. Okay, let's meet secondary. I give you a couple of seconds to get your eyes on the screen. Alright, let's go. Charvarius Ward, Ambry Thomas, De'Mondre Lenoir, George Odom, Jair Brown, Talanoa Hufanga. That's pretty much it. So here we were, how it looked before the offseason started, and here we are right now. Pretty much nothing happened for these positions. Only Hufanga and Lenoir got a pay raise from the league to be really exceptional players, but not drafted in the first round. And let's talk this group. Okay. It's really complete. It's really nice group. You have your number one corner in Ward. Lenoir as an option next to him, very good. Ambry Thomas, I mean, as your number 4, you would like him more. Here is number 3, but yeah, why not? It's okay. And then in terms of safeties, Hufanga, Odom, Jair Brown, really good group. What is there to say? Like, okay, Brown, Hufanga, kind of maybe too similar for your liking, that it's not necessarily like they are the best pairing out there. They kind of play similarly, but Odom can step up, can play as that third safety, and there are 2 issues, right? First one, Hufanga will need to get paid. The same with Lenoir. So 2025, you might be without both of these guys. And kind of the same is for Charvarius Ward. So the longevity of this group is really with a huge question mark. So for 2024, we are set. It's good. This group is going to get B. Yeah, it's going to be B. Like there is something definitely missing to be an A, but they are definitely not average. It's a B group. And the problem is what is there going forward. So it's going to be interesting to see how they will approach it in terms of draft, if they will draft in advance or if they will be like, well, we will figure this out next off season. Also, Hufanga is coming back from injury, so there's like minor question marks there. Definitely B group. Really, you have your great first option with cornerbacks. Okay. I would probably give it like a B- because the question marks of Hufanga in terms of injury is probably out there. Okay, well, B-. B- is more fair to this group. And that's it. that was the secondary. Now let's take special teams, and we will go then to draft and the Super Bowl window. So, Kyle Shanahan, what is there to say? Like at the start, I mentioned Kyle Shanahan coaching tree, just to name a few guys that became head coaches while previously working with Kyle Shanahan as his coordinator. So Matt LaFleur, Robert Saleh, D'Amico Ryans, Mike McDaniels. Like, what is there to say? Like, exceptional coaches, really great young minds. Definitely, like people that can thank their careers in a way to Kyle Shanahan, because he definitely helped them to reach what they are right now. But with one breath to that, their coordinator situation is very, very questionable right now. Like, so Chris Forster, he's not even like an offensive coordinator, but he's like perhaps the closest guy that they have to that. Like, it's obviously Kyle Shanahan's offense. So I have a guy here. I could have put Kyle Shanahan out there as well. But in terms of defensive coordinator, after D'Amico Ryan's departure last year, they tried to replace him. Obviously, why you wouldn't? But it really did not work out to the best of their abilities. And so that's why right now they're trying to internally promote Nick Sorensen from, like, he was formerly the passing game coordinator, like defensive passing game coordinator. But he's like not a name that you can take with no question marks, right? Like, okay, in terms of offense, you are like, okay, it's Kyle Shanahan's, okay, we are good. But with Nick Sorensen and the defense, like, the defense has an exceptional talent, so they will not suck. No, like, even if I coach them, they won't suck. Like, even if I tell them pretty much, if I orchestrated the games or the plays so they would bump into each other, they would still not suck. They would still make something out of that. But as of right now, he's definitely coming as one of the most unproven defensive coordinators. And as we saw last season, even like more experienced defensive coordinator, like underperformed. It's not like the defense was bad, yeah, but it didn't, with Steve Wilkes, it didn't like fulfill its potential. So I would say in terms of, is Nick Sorensen like more known quality that was Steve Wilkes? I would not say. So the fact that Steve Wilkes failed, they made a decision to let him go after a year one. It's not like this job will do itself, and Nick does not come as the proven great defensive coordinator. So definitely some of the question marks I have, they are here. In terms of special teams, Jake Moody was a rookie this year. You still should not draft a kicker, like definitely not early, which they have done. They drafted Jake Moody with number 100 pick. Like, I'm not saying he was like bad, or I wouldn't even say like he was the reason why they lost in the Super Bowl. Like, he missed the PAT or it got blocked, but he actually scored pretty long field goals. It might have actually been his best game. So yeah, I'm not gonna blame Jake Moody for losing the Super Bowl, but he is like middle of the pack kicker, and is that deserving of a 4th round pick for a kicker? No, in my eyes. Like, if you spend this high, you better draft Justin Tucker, I guess, in a sense. But again, he should not be a problem. He probably can get better, though. Like, with kickers, I'm like, okay, there might be like an evolution trajectory, but it's definitely not like the same expectancy like you have for players like wide receivers, cornerbacks, or etc. With Wisniewski, he is a known quantity. He is middle of the pack punter. Definitely. Like, this group should not win you games, it should not lose you game, they should just be good, which pretty much, like, given the quality of the roster you have, you are okay with that. So let's go back to one of the first topics one of the topics to discuss, and it's milking the next 2 years. And it's absolutely clear, like, they have Super Bowl window this year and next year. When we looked at the contracts, like, CMC is not under contract on 26. Nick Bosa goes from 20 million cap hits to over 40 million cap hits. Debo is not under contract. Trent Williams is going to be like 37, 38. Like, he's still for that year under contract, but at that point, if he's still best offensive lineman in the league, then we should really check him, like, for banned substances, because that would be crazy, like, absolute. As of right now, I'm always, like, tipping my cat not my cat, my hat to him. I don't have a hat. I do have a cat, but I will tip my hat. But yeah, he's gonna be 2 years older, and like, so many void years, like, it's clear. And we have not even mentioned, like, Brock Purdy, right? He has 2 more years on his contract. Like, he's definitely gonna get some bump from the NFL for next year, but it's gonna be like, what, 4 million, something like that. So it's not like you have him for 2 years for 2 millions. You probably have him for 2 years, 5 millions. Oh my God, that's really a huge bump, right? Clearly, this is your 2-year window. You are trying to win. You are trying to win now, and like, for them, that's where I'm, like, with Brandon Ayuk. Like, I'm kind of surprised that they have not been able to reach the deal. I feel like they will try to play maybe hardball with him, but, like, why couldn't you, like, reach some kind of deal for him that would push money for 26, 27 and still keep him on the roster for 24, 25 for reasonable cap hits? Like, you might say, so what happens in 2026? And I'm like, I'm not. This is one team, or it might be just one team, that I'm, like, absolutely okay if they just don't look at the future. Let's just focus on these 2 years. Let's win the damn Super Bowl for them. And when the 2026 arrives, we will deal with that, But it's clear, the window is now. You've already pushed a lot of money into 2026. So making, like, reasonable decisions right now, or responsible decisions, won't make you contenders for 2026. Like, the situation for 26, 27 is already quite bad because you pushed money to those years. And, like, now it's like, I had dinner at McDonald's, and then in terms of, like, my snack late in the night, I've chosen to eat broccoli instead of a biscuit. Like, I still ate 2 Big Macs at McDonald's, right? So it doesn't really change the whole situation that much. So I would say, let's eat at McDonald's even for late night snack, because it's time now. Like, now it's time to where it's like eating McDonald's, like, sort of eat the junk, just really focus on these 2 years and just try to win. So they are probably the only team that I would advise, or I would actually, if I were a GM, I would just put the blindfold over my eyes and just focus on these 2 years. Then, I will eat my veggies 26, 27, because now is the freaking time. So with that in mind, let's address the draft. And the first draft, it's absolutely clear what I'm doing. I feel like my worst position is the offensive line, so I'm really throwing the bodies out there and hope they stick. I think about cornerback room as well. I feel like because you say you put a blindfold, and here you're drafting cornerback where you said 24, they are good. Yes, they are good from 24, but this is really one position that they are really not set for 25. So putting a cornerback out there is definitely something I would, even with blindfolds, it feels like I need to do that for at least 2025. So that's why I would brought Lassiter. But overall, pretty much easy strategy. Then again, if there is another positions. If I don't trade Brandon Ayuk, if so, I definitely need to focus wide receiver. But if not, I'm absolutely cool with these guys. Then it's like put buddies on the D-line, just secure that even more. And that's pretty much also what I have done in terms of my second draft. So pretty much the strategy is really simple. Let's just, the second one is much more about actually being more responsible towards the future, because I got an extra second round for next year. But yeah, would I do that in reality? Probably not. But I'm like still kind of happy with the second draft as well. And here we go. So this is it for your 49ers. As a Seahawks fan, they will definitely be paying in my, for next 2 years. I cannot see them going away for these 2 years. They have absolutely exceptional players. For 2 years, they will be Super Bowl contenders. Right now, I think they are number 2, number 3, something like that in terms of Vegas odds. Let me check, which is really not surprising. They will have for these 2 years the easier conference. Oh, they're actually favorites. Yeah, I understand that, especially from the perspective that they are in the worst conference. I don't think there's a doubt about that. So their road to Super Bowl is easier. There are some problems with Kansas City that we will talk next as well. So that was it. Kansas City Chiefs episode coming very soon. Hope you guys enjoyed this one on the 49ers. In 4 days or 3 days, depends when we will watch, where we will be able to put this episode online. So it might be in 2 days, or maybe actually can be tomorrow. We will see each other, hopefully, for the NFL draft that I will be streaming for you guys. Up to that point, have a nice day. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.